Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Let's Talk. I am your host, IceFist1, and today I talk to you about the news and everything gaming. Today I talk about what a season pass truly entails, what you're entitled to, whether or not a developer should be able to add things outside of the season pass, and where it came from, where the idea of a season pass first started. The developer that comes to mind is definitely Epic and their Gears of War 3 season pass. This was the first season pass I ever heard of. They might have been different, there might have been other options out there on the PC or something like that, but as far as I know, this is where it all started. The idea of a season pass is very simple. The developer promises you content and you buy all their content ahead of time. The good news is there's an incentive for you doing this. You actually end up paying less. Let's say there's actually 4 different content packs planned that you will only pay for 3. However, you take a risk on this because it's a gamble. Remember, if you don't know what the content is gonna be. As far as you know, it could be map packs, it could be characters, it could be anything. But you're trusting the developer to provide that for you. You trust them enough so you pay ahead of time to see what you get. This idea became very popular very quickly because it helps developers earn extra cash quickly. And it also helps the consumer because if you know you're gonna buy all their DLC, you might as well get it ahead of time. Might as well spend less money on it. If you already know that you're gonna buy all the Halo 4 map packs, then you buy the season pass and save money. That way you pay less money for the same amount of content you're gonna buy anyways. Another game that comes to mind is definitely Borderlands. Borderlands 2, that is. Specifically because they said that they were gonna give you all the content, the same idea, for less. However, as of late, they decided that they're going to add an extra character outside of the content that's already promised for you for an extra $10. Now, mind you, the season pass costs 2,400 Microsoft points, which I believe is around $30, and they're going to charge you extra for another character. I find this very disturbing because the way the companies are doing this these days, a lot of these companies, for example, Capcom, are known for holding back content and then doing, for example, day 1 DLC or dislike content is another idea. Now, I'm not saying Gearbox is going to do this. I'm just saying that if Gearbox, who's been good to their fans, they've been really good to their fans, okay? My account had a problem. A lot of people encountered the same problem where your badass rank was actually reset. They went out of their way to fix that. They're a good company. Now, I'm not saying Capcom is a bad company, but Capcom and EA and all these other companies, they really want your money. And what's the best way to get your money? To take away content and charge you extra for it. It's very simple. Which brings us back to Gearbox. Gearbox promised that they were going to give you all their content. That's kind of the idea of the season pass. They were going to give you all their content for a lesser price. Now, if you bought the season pass, you still have to pay for the extra character. This is great for the developer, sure, but for the consumer, not so much. Because think about it. What about if all these companies decided you're only gonna pay for a season pass for a certain amount of content? I'm gonna hold back content just so I can charge for it later. The idea of a season pass, it's very new, so the developers are kind of testing the waters, see how things go. I just hope this doesn't catch on, because then what is a season? What is the definition of a season? Okay, you pay for four content pack, 3 content packs, 1 content pack, who knows, right? So, or they can just basically say, I'm gonna hold back on creating extra content so I can charge for it later. Now, this is scary because you're taking a risk as a consumer, giving money to this company, saying, yeah, I support you, I'm gonna give you all this money so you can give me content for it, right? Then that's great, but what if they start saying, well, you paid for only this content, not this full content, see? And that's when the real problem comes, because sure, let's say I buy a season pass from EA and all I get is skins, and then outside of that season pass there's actually full-on map packs and everything like that. Then what was it worth of what I just bought? What is the worth of all the $30-40 that I spent on the game outside of the $60 I already spent on the game? Only time will truly tell if this catches on or not. Hopefully it won't. If it does, we'll just have to see. Alright, next up I want to talk about pre-ordering games. Is a good thing, if you should pre-order them, who benefits from this, whether or not it's a good idea to put money down for a game you know nothing about. The reason I bring this up is because as of late there's been a lot of games who kind of suck. If you look at, I can think of Alien Colonial Marines on the top of my head. where everything kind of sucked, where developers actually were bamboozled and they saw a different game, a different demo apparently. So they said that the game was looking great, everything looked awesome. However, when the game came out, it was horrible. Another example of this could be World Z, that one game that came out on Steam that they promised you that you get to fight all these zombies, all these other ideas, and it didn't deliver. Now, I know what you're thinking, why are you only talking about PC? Well, for the thing about consoles is it's a lot easier for you to cancel your pre-order. You go to a store, you say, you know what, I don't wanna pre-order this game anymore. I put $5 down for that one, but can you move it to another one? They do that all the time. However, when it comes to Steam and any of these other online providers, you actually have to call in customer service for them to allow you to get your money back. It's just a whole long process. Sometimes you cannot get your money back. It's just a big mess, okay? Not the same thing as console gaming where you can just go ahead and go to a store and say, you know what, I'm done, I don't want it, I saw this review and it sucked. But what are the true evils of pre-ordering a game, right? Well, for starters, it feels that developers are splitting content. It feels that they're looking at one store and saying, well, you get exclusivity, and they look at another store and say, well, you get this. For example, GameStop usually gets the better deals, then you have Walmart who gives you money or some kind of poster. It's always like a battle between everybody, and the consumer kind of loses because you have to give up one of them. Back to Gears of War, for example, all the different retailers had different characters you can unlock for your game. So when you bought it at one place, you gave up 2 other characters. Now the idea of a developer actually making content per store kind of bothers me because it says that they spend extra time and extra care just to make sure that each store gets a different gun, gets a different character, I don't know, gets a different poster or something like that. You know, like they spend all this extra time that they could have put in the game trying to develop extra stuff so they can sell in different retailers. Now the question comes, do I like pre-ordering games? Actually I do, yeah, I like pre-ordering games. It's kind of my commitment to the developer saying, you know what, I will buy your game when it comes out. And it also means that I will pay less at the door when I go buy it, even though you're really paying the full amount. It kind of feels that way, so I can pay it in half and half or whatever. I mean, I remember the first game I bought, the first game I pre-ordered actually. It was Kingdom Hearts 2. When I first heard about it, I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, so when I heard about it, I really wanted to get it, so I was like, I'll pre-order it. And I've been pre-ordering games ever since. So in closing, I think pre-ordering is good. The only time it proves to be bad is like if content's actually taken away from the game to give it to one of the companies or another, or when you're locked into the game in the idea of like Steam, where you have to call customer support and go through all this great ordeal just to get your money back because you found out that the game you were promised is not the game you received. That right there is why sometimes I suggest research your game ahead of time. Not sometimes, all the time. Research your game. Don't just buy blindly. If you do that, then you get what you pay for. Finally, I want to talk about HD remakes. Are they good? Are they bad? Who gets hurt by them, basically? Lately, there's been an outbreak of HD remakes. For example, Metal Gear Solid, DMC, just to name a few. The original Hitman games, to name a few. The good news about HD remakes is, well, for the consumer, we get to play games that we couldn't play before. Maybe we didn't have the system, maybe we didn't have the money to buy the game. It's all substantial, right? So now they remake it in full HD glory, so you can go back and play them. What could be so bad about that? Well, creativity dies when you keep making the same thing over and over and over, and the consumer will buy your game if it's a classic. Ocarina of Time HD is sold pretty well, but they didn't have to remake anything. You see, sure, they implemented a 3D idea to it, but you didn't have to make anything that wasn't already established. And that is an issue that we have in the current generation, where everybody wants to make a shooter because shooters sell, and nobody wants to step outside the boundaries to make something different. Now, do I think that HD remakes are bad? Do I think they're the death of creativity? Well, to an extent, no, but it all depends how it's used. If every single game out there is going to be HD remade again and nothing new is coming out, then yeah, it's really easy to just rehash the same thing you have. Here looking at you, Call of Duty, and make a lot of money out of it. Now let's be honest, not every game out there deserves an HD remake, However, there's certain series that I would like to see in full-on HD. Final Fantasy VII, for example, there's been talk of a long time that they wanted to make a full-on HD port of that game, make it completely new, make it completely accessible for everybody. It's one of the best RPGs out there, so why not bring it back full-on HD? Another example of this is Killer Instinct. Last week I talked about Rare and why I wanted them to make KI in HD, but they're not doing it, right? For those kind of games, it will work. Now, I don't think every game that you see per se should have an HD remake, because then it brings out laziness, okay? It brings out, oh yeah, let me sit back and rehash the same thing I've done, resell it and get money out of it. No new development, just money for the publisher. No extra costs, no developers, no artists redrawing anything, just straight up money into their pockets. However, I think there's more positive than negative. If you look at Metal Gear Solid, for example, a series that I love, but I wasn't able to play some of the original titles, they have so much content on that, it justifies a purchase. However, on the other hand, you have something like Resident Evil 4, where all they did was they just upscale everything and didn't change it. It really wasn't HD, so it made all the other stuff look uglier and blurry. That right there is how you do an HD remake wrong. And another example of this again is Final Fantasy. I would love to see the first Final Fantasies being remade on full-on HD 3D graphics or whatever. I don't mean like 3DS graphics, I mean like a full-on character, you know what I'm saying, like 3D models and everything like that. As opposed to then seeing Lightning again, or 13.7, because they keep making 13 over and over and over, and the series has become stagnant. It would be the same thing if every series out there was made into an HD remake, then nothing new will be made. It will have the 13 effect, where you want them to just get past that game. You want exploration, you want a new character, you want something different, something that hasn't been done before. But since 13 sells, you keep going back to 13. They don't have to create anything new. They don't do anything extra. They just keep doing the same character models, maybe add a different story, tweak up the combat system a little bit, and re-release it for money. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of today's show. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you again for being a loyal fan, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. If you like this or you like any other of our content, make sure you go to our page. We're Fat Cats Theater on YouTube. And as always, thank you again. I'll see you guys